Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when God moves at an unusual speed, shifting seasons faster than we expect. This is true for relationships and marriage. While some spend years waiting, others find themselves brought together in a way that defies human understanding. But how do we navigate this divine acceleration? First, we must recognize that divine acceleration is real. When God decides to connect two people in covenant, he does not need time as humans do. He can restore lost years, rearrange circumstances, and create encounters that lead to marriage in an instant. What seems like a sudden change is often the result of God's unseen preparation. If God is bringing your marriage fast, trust him, prepare yourself, and move with his direction. A godly marriage is not about how long it takes to begin, but how well it is built on faith, love, and divine purpose. When God decides to move, he moves in ways that surpass human understanding. Divine acceleration is a spiritual principle that reflects God's ability to speed up processes that would naturally take years, bringing them to completion in a short time. This applies to many aspects of life: healing, restoration, breakthroughs, and, importantly, relationships and marriage. Throughout the Bible, we see examples of how God has moved quickly in people's lives. Think of how Ruth, a widow working in the field, suddenly found herself in a divine alignment with Boaz. What seemed like an ordinary day of gathering leftover grain turned into a God-ordained meeting that changed her destiny. Joseph, too, experienced acceleration. One day he was a prisoner, and the next he was positioned as second in command over Egypt. When God's hand is involved, situations shift in an instant, and what seemed impossible becomes reality. In the same way, when God is orchestrating a marriage, he does not require the lengthy timelines that human traditions or societal norms may impose. He is the God who transcends time. The key to understanding divine acceleration in marriage is recognizing that it is not about rushing or making hasty decisions. Rather, it is about divine alignment. When God has been preparing two individuals separately for years, he can bring them together quickly once they are ready. Many people assume that a fast-moving relationship cannot be from God. However, divine acceleration does not mean skipping necessary steps. It means that God has been working behind the scenes, shaping hearts and aligning circumstances long before the individuals even meet. What appears to be fast in the natural realm is often the result of deep preparation in the spiritual realm. It is important to distinguish divine acceleration from emotional impulsiveness. A relationship that moves fast because of human desire, impatience, or pressure from others is not the same as one that is propelled by God. The difference lies in divine confirmation, peace, and purpose. When God is behind the acceleration, there will be a deep sense of clarity, alignment with his word, and a lack of confusion or fear. One of the greatest dangers in misunderstanding divine acceleration is resisting it due to fear. Many people hesitate when God brings them into a relationship quickly because they assume it is too soon or too good to be true. Yet when God moves, he provides the grace, wisdom, and strength to walk in his plan. Instead of questioning his timing, it is crucial to pray for discernment and seek his guidance. Ultimately, divine acceleration in marriage is a reflection of God's sovereignty. He knows the end from the beginning, and when he chooses to move swiftly, he does so with precision and purpose. For those experiencing a rapid progression toward marriage, the key is to remain prayerful, seek godly counsel, and trust that God's timing is always perfect. While divine acceleration in marriage is a powerful move of God, it does not happen without preparation. Many people desire a swift union, but they overlook the fact that God does not bring someone into a season they are unprepared for. Just as no builder constructs a house without laying a foundation, no marriage can be sustained without preparation. Before God accelerates a relationship, he ensures that both individuals have been refined, matured, and positioned to handle the responsibilities that come with a covenant relationship. Preparation happens on multiple levels: spiritual, emotional, mental, and even practical. Spiritually, one must develop a deep and personal relationship with God. A strong marriage is built on faith, and if an individual has not cultivated a habit of seeking God in their singleness, they will struggle to keep him at the center of their marriage. It is essential to establish a foundation of prayer, worship, and obedience to God's voice before stepping into the sacred covenant of marriage. Emotionally, preparation involves healing from past wounds, disappointments, and relationships. Many enter marriage with unresolved pain, insecurities, or trust issues, which can create unnecessary challenges. God often delays relationships not because he does not want to bless someone, but because he wants them to be whole before uniting with another person. Carrying emotional baggage into a relationship can weigh it down, preventing it from flourishing. True preparation requires allowing God to heal wounds, break toxic cycles, and build emotional maturity. Mentally, preparation means shifting from a mindset of independence to one of partnership. Marriage is not just about companionship. It requires teamwork, selflessness, and a willingness to grow together. Many struggle in relationships because they are still operating with a single-minded mentality, unwilling to compromise, communicate, or adapt. A prepared individual understands that marriage is about serving, loving, and building together, rather than seeking personal fulfillment alone. Practically, preparation includes learning about marriage itself. Many people want to be married, but have never taken the time to understand what a godly marriage entails. Studying biblical principles of marriage, seeking mentorship from couples with strong relationships, and learning how to navigate conflict, finances, and responsibilities are all crucial steps. Just as no one would enter a career without the necessary training, no one should enter marriage without being equipped with wisdom and knowledge. When preparation is complete, acceleration becomes effortless. God does not operate in disorder. He brings things together in his perfect time. If a person is still in a season of growth, it means that their future spouse may also be undergoing preparation. Instead of focusing on when marriage will happen, it is wiser to focus on becoming the person God has called you to be. A prepared heart will recognize divine acceleration when it comes and embrace it with confidence. God's acceleration is never random. It is a reward for preparation. Those who are ready will step into their marriage season smoothly, knowing that they have been shaped, strengthened, and positioned for what God has ordained. When God accelerates a marriage, it is essential to recognize his hand in the process. Not every fast-moving relationship is divinely orchestrated, and not every delay means that God is absent. Spiritual discernment is the key to understanding whether a relationship is moving according to God's divine timing, or simply being influenced by emotions, external pressure, or even deception. Without discernment, one may either miss a God-ordained opportunity or walk into a situation that leads to unnecessary pain. One may either miss a God-ordained opportunity or walk into a situation that leads to unnecessary pain. Discernment begins with a deep connection to God. One cannot accurately perceive his will without spending time in prayer, reading his word, and listening to the Holy Spirit. Many people enter relationships based on personal desires rather than divine direction. While attraction, compatibility, and emotions are important, they should never be the sole foundation for a relationship. God's plan for marriage is about purpose, destiny, and kingdom advancement. A discerning individual seeks God first, trusting that he will reveal whether a relationship is part of his divine plan. A critical aspect of discernment is peace. When God is orchestrating a marriage, he provides a sense of deep, unshakable peace. This does not mean that there will be no challenges or uncertainties, but there will be an inner assurance that the relationship is aligned with his will. On the other hand, when something is not of God, there is often confusion, anxiety, or a lack of clarity. The Bible reminds us in 1 Corinthians 14:33 that God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. If a relationship is causing constant doubt, unrest, or a feeling of being rushed without proper confirmation, It may be wise to pause and seek God further. Discernment also involves examining the fruit of a relationship. Jesus taught in Matthew 7:16 that we would know people by their fruits. A relationship that is from God will produce good fruit, spiritual growth, emotional stability, mutual respect, and alignment with biblical principles. If a relationship is marked by secrecy, manipulation, compromise, or an abandonment of one's faith values, it is a clear sign that it may not be divinely orchestrated. Seeking wise counsel is another critical part of discernment. Proverbs 11:14 states, "Where no counsel is, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors there is safety." God often confirms his direction through spiritual mentors, pastors, or trusted believers who are mature in faith. If multiple godly voices are expressing concern about a relationship, it is wise to pay attention. Ignoring warnings can lead to regret, while heeding wisdom can bring protection and clarity. It is also important to discern the timing of God. Even if someone is the right person, it does not mean the season is right. God may bring two people together, but still require them to wait, grow, or establish a deeper foundation before moving toward marriage. Misinterpreting timing can lead to frustration, while trusting in God's perfect schedule brings peace and fulfillment. Spiritual discernment is not about fear or hesitation. It is about wisdom, patience, and alignment with God's will. When he is the foundation of a relationship, the path will be clear, the process will be covered in grace, and the destination will be filled with his divine favor. When God accelerates a marriage, the journey requires both faith and wisdom. Faith allows us to trust in God's timing, while wisdom ensures we navigate the process correctly. Many people desire a fast-moving relationship, but without the right mindset and approach, they can mishandle what God is doing. Understanding how to balance trust in God with practical wisdom is essential for sustaining a relationship that has been divinely accelerated. Faith is the foundation of any God-ordained relationship. Hebrews 11 verse 1 reminds us that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. When God brings two people together quickly, it may not always make sense in the natural. Friends and family may question the timing and personal doubts may arise. However, faith assures us that when God is the one orchestrating the acceleration, he has already prepared the way. It is important to trust that he knows what he is doing, even when the process feels unfamiliar. At the same time, wisdom must accompany faith. Proverbs 4:7 declares, "Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding." Moving in faith does not mean ignoring wise counsel, biblical principles, or practical considerations. Wisdom helps individuals avoid reckless decisions, ensuring that they build a strong foundation for marriage. One key aspect of wisdom is proper communication. When a relationship is moving quickly, it is essential to have open and honest discussions about expectations, values, and future plans. Rushing into marriage without addressing fundamental issues can lead to conflict later. Both individuals must be intentional about discussing topics such as spiritual beliefs, family dynamics, financial stewardship, and personal responsibility. A relationship that lacks deep communication, even in an accelerated timeline, is vulnerable to unnecessary challenges. Another critical component of wisdom is accountability. When God is moving swiftly, it is wise to seek godly counsel from spiritual leaders, mentors, or married couples with strong relationships. Proverbs 15:22 states, "Without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors they are established." Having trusted advisors can provide insight, confirmation, and guidance in making sound decisions. God often uses wise counsel to affirm his direction and prevent mistakes that could arise from emotional impulsiveness. Additionally, wisdom requires emotional maturity. A fast-moving relationship should not be fueled by excitement alone. It must be supported by a strong emotional foundation. Both individuals should demonstrate patience, self-control, and a willingness to navigate challenges together. If emotions are leading the relationship more than God's direction, it is a sign to pause and reassess. Lastly, wisdom calls for alignment with God's word. Any relationship that moves quickly but leads to spiritual compromise is not from God. If acceleration causes one to drift away from prayer, purity, or biblical principles, it is necessary to realign with God's will. The right relationship will draw both individuals closer to Christ, not further away. By embracing faith and applying wisdom, a divinely accelerated relationship can be both strong and enduring. Trusting God's process, making sound decisions, and staying grounded in His Word will lead to a marriage that is not only fast-moving, but also deeply rooted in His purpose and favor. As we have seen, when God accelerates a marriage, it is not by accident or human effort. It is by divine design. He moves swiftly when He knows that both individuals are prepared, aligned, and ready to step into the covenant He has ordained. However, acceleration does not mean skipping the process. Preparation is essential, discernment is critical, and wisdom must guide every step. A fast-moving relationship that is truly from God will be covered in peace, confirmed by His word, and strengthened by godly counsel. It will not pull individuals away from Him, but will instead push them closer to their divine purpose. The key is to trust God completely, ensuring that faith and wisdom work together as you navigate the journey He has set before you. For those experiencing divine acceleration, do not let fear hold you back, but also do not let emotions lead you astray. Walk in obedience, seek the voice of God, and allow Him to establish your steps. Marriage is not about speed, it is about foundation. And when God is the foundation, nothing can shake what He has built. May your journey be filled with clarity, grace, and divine favor as you embrace God's perfect timing.